Hey, hi everyone. In this particular lecture, we are going to learn about the content type in HTTP module of Node.js, right? So, what is this content type and why do we need it? Well, basically, whenever we send any response from the server side to the client, what happens that our browser don't know that what kind of data we are sending, right? And what format does it follow? And that's why we give this content type. As you can see here, I have written that the browser does not know how to display the response until we tell it, right? Like if I show you here, I have written some code for you, right? This looks quite bulky, but it's very simple. Like in the first, if the request.url is HTML, in that particular case, as you can see here, what I have written, this is the HTML, right? But I have quoted inside the strings, right? So it is basically a string now, but I want to show it in the form of HTML in my browser. That means I want this to be in the bold letter and quite big in size, right? The text font should be big. For that purpose, I need to tell my browser that this is not a string. This is basically a header, right? And for that purpose, you can see here I put that the content type is text slash HTML. Now this is telling basically that the browser, what I am sending to you is basically a header, right? Basically a HTML, and inside this is a head, right? Now here, if I say about the second example, that is the JSON. So here you can see I have written something here. Okay, fine, it is JSON.stringify and there's some of the data, right? But how the browser will know that what you are sending is the JSON? For that purpose, you need to give this application slash JSON. This is the way that why we use this content type. And let me give you some of the example that is which are most used, that is text slash HTML, right? So it's show as a web page. If you have done any front end, right, so you have little bit of idea that when we start our HTML, right, we start the server of the HTML, we get to show a web page, right? And this application slash JSON will treat as the JSON, and text slash plain just for the plain text. And now let me start the server and show you something that you need to understand. That is node script.js, right? So I have started the server, right? Now you can see at the first there is what the request.url that is slash HTML. So let's go to the browser and let me just open it here, that is localhost 3000 then slash HTML. Now when I press this, when I enter this, I want that my response should be in the form of HTML, right? So when I press enter, you can see this is a HTML response, because you can see this is bulky, big in size, and the font size is bold like this, which is the format of the h1 tag, right, in the HTML. Now if I do here the JSON, in that particular case, you can see I got the JSON here, the JSON data. You can see why this response type get changed, because I have put that content type as the application slash JSON. Now when I put here what I put in a third, that is text, right? So if I put here just the text and press enter, you can see I'm getting just a plain text here, right? Now as a developer, there's one more thing that you need to understand. Let me show you that also, that if this is the HTML response, right, and we are sending the content type, basically we are defining the header that we are sending a HTML response. So for that purpose, to see that whether what the uh, content type that we are sending, we you go to the inspect and then you go to the network. After going to the network, just refresh your website. After refreshing, you can see I got this HTML here. When you click on it, you can see this content type here. Now the content type is what, this text slash HTML. That's why I'm getting this HTML response. Now if I make it JSON, right, in that particular case, you can see I'm getting a JSON here. When I click here, you can see the content type is what, application slash JSON. And if you go to the let's say text, right, in that particular case I'm getting the name as text and the content type is text slash plain, right? So this is how we work, and this is what your content type is. Now few of the most common content type that you should know, that is first the text slash HTML, that is for the HTML page, application slash JSON, that is for API returning that JSON, right? And text slash plain, that will return the plain text. Image slash PNG or image slash JPG, it depends that what your image type is, that it is .png or is it .jpeg. right? So you can define it like this. This is for your images, and for any PDF basically you can use application slash PDF for the PDF files, right? So I hope you understood the concept of this content type in Node.js HTTP module, right? So this is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.